so true.
Pat is looking phenomenal. We were saying he's giving a lot of effort. He's getting some great touches, great sets. He is in it, man.
Ironically, he just had a bit of an error right there while we were praising Pat, but for the most part, Pat's been pretty good, like Dylan said.
Man, you hate to see it. You hate to see that.
It's a commentator's curse, right?
That's right. Oh,
Ooh.
wow.
Yeah, there's a good touch by Ezra. Little struggle by Pat there, though.
That was a sneaky good set by Anthony, too. When the ball is that low to the ground, to pick it up and give it enough height without carrying the ball is, like, really challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we had a few tough points by Ezra and Pat to start off, but they're still in this, and we'll see how they can play. Oh, man, Ezra had the position to get a good touch there. It looks like it came off the heel of his hand, and just Pat couldn't get there.
And as soon as I say a great set by Anthony, what an awful set by Anthony. a lot of spin on that ball, very high.
So high.
Good on Ben, just so high. Good on Ben just to get it on.
Yep.
Can we get a Pat interview after this game? Actually, he's the only person that we are willing to talk to after. Actually, regardless of the score, we need Pat on.
I completely agree. All right, missed first serve for Ezra. Looks like they're down 2-3.
And I think, so we talked a little bit about strategy when you're like in a tournament, and I think if I'm Ezra and Pat, something that I always thought about if I lost game one was just how important a strong start was in game two. Obviously, because you need to win game two to force a game three. But just like we were talking about playing from behind and how it almost gets magnified the longer a game goes, when you're playing with the lead, it just gives you that much comfort if you can get up 6-3, 7-4, 8-5, and you have a little bit of a cushion. And then when you're serving, you can just like put a ton of pressure on the team who's already down because they can't make any mistakes.
Yep, it gives you more freedom to kind of, yeah, like you said, put that pressure on your serve, which is good. And I think one thing that's important when you lose game one and you're coming into game two, with a lot of teams, there's that like mental thing of, oh, I took game one, like we're the better team, we're going to take game two now. And that's a little bit of an advantage for the losing team because it gives them that, like you even said, comfort a little bit. And so you can catch them off guard a little bit. And I've seen a lot of teams where there's one team who's much better than the other team, and they win game one pretty handily, and then their mindset gets relaxed. And then game two, they somehow drop it just because they have that relaxed mindset.
Completely agreed. They're like already, if it's the round of 16, they're already thinking about the quarters, they're already thinking about the semis, and they haven't finished the job that they're doing. So yeah, it's such a great point. And it's actually relatively common in our sport where a team will win game one and they'll lose game 2 and 3, and just like that, like, you know, they're ousted.
Exactly, and it's exciting to see that. But I think just in sport and that's like, the longer the series go, generally the better team comes on top. Like that's what makes March Madness so fun, is with one game, if you don't have the right mindset, it really gets to you. So the shorter the series are, the more that is prevalent.
Absolutely, which is why, like myself personally, I enjoyed the season that we were double elimination, but I truly like that we're single elimination because it allows for more upsets. It allows for top teams to need to focus more, not knowing that they have like a safety net of the losers run.
Yep, completely agree there. All right, looks like the game is tied up or close to that. So Ezra and Pat had kind of a rough start, but they've picked it up a little bit. And I've seen Cody's had a few rough hits, but Pat's starting to pick it up now and get some good sets, and we got a rally going on here. Good touch by Ezra. Nice set by Pat, and Ezra puts it on. Tweener by Ben. Ooh, a little flick shot by Ezra, and just a lot of awkward hits right now. A lot of, oh my goodness. And it ends with a hinder.
Oh, I hate to see it. That's gonna be on Friday on Do Barrel's Instagram, folks.
Yep. Wow, I think that was one of the best rallies yet, and you hate when it ends like that.
Especially because I still think one of the more gray areas in our sport is about a strong offensive versus a regular hinder, like who serves next. I think like there's still a lot of gray area there. So for that one,
Yep.
I don't know what you would say there, but that's what's so tough about those rallies sometimes is that call that the observer makes, whether it's like a strong offensive hinder or not, is a big deal.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a potential extra point or not, and especially when it could have been yours. That's a complete reversal and a swing of 2 points, if you will.
Oh, nice try by Ezra there. And especially when it's a part of the game we haven't really touched on very much, which is the mental side of it. I've been in a lot of matches since we've gotten the observers where a call really gets into the mind of especially some of the younger players. Like I love him, but Coleman let a call last year get to him really bad, and he played poorly the rest of the match. So it's just something to keep in mind is that there is a mental side of it, just like any sport.
Yep. I think just in general, I think the mental side of this sport is something that's not talked about too much. Just like how calls come into play, just like the psychology of where you are in the match, and just like different mental players. I think that's something that doesn't get touched on a whole lot, but is a really interesting aspect of the sport.
And here's something I literally just thought of, and I'm not sure how true this is, but especially sports like tennis, like roundnet, where there's so much perfection expected that all of those little errors they almost snowball in a way in some people's mind, and especially where like in baseball or basketball, like you might shoot 50% of basketball, you might be a 300 hitter in baseball, and you're considered an all-star. But in sports like roundnet, like especially at the pro level, you have to kill that ball like 99% of the time. Like that's what's acceptable. So I think like those little errors can stack up in your mind.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, one small error, like that could be the game. Whereas like baseball, you mentioned be a 300 hitter, you're an all-star, but like you make one small error, that's the point, and the points are huge in the higher levels.
Yeah, which is it just makes it so impressive. When we talk about Chico and Chiswick Showalter and these dominating teams in our sport, that they're able to go out each and every tournament and just dominate in the way that no other teams have done in our sport's history. I just find it so impressive because of that. You just have to be on all the time, very minimal errors, and almost robotic, which is like how I describe Peter John a lot.
Yep, and it's like, at least certainly with Chiswick Showalter, like they have impressive serving and whatnot, but like honestly, just like that consistency to me is far more impressive than their serving, just because there's a lot of players now you see who are like picking up solid serves, but that consistency is it's hard to replicate.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And especially like I think consistency on serve receive is so challenging. And I remember at last year's this is a great rally. Hold on. Oh man. I remember last year at 2019 Chicago Co-Ed was actually Peter John and Tyler were facing against each other in the finals. And they're just launching bullets at each other from a serving perspective. And Peter John and Tyler both like just are brick walls back there and getting perfect touches to the middle of the net. And then of course we saw that at the 2019 national finals, both Boisterous and Chiswick Showalter just putting on such a great display of serve receive that to me is like consistency. I totally agree with you, but the serve receive is like what, in my mind, is almost borderline unthinkable how like they're able to be that consistent on serve receive.
And the reality is a serve is only as good as the serve receiver is bad.
Yes, that's a great point.
Oh, almost a beautiful kick up from Ben, but instead went right into his face.
Which is of course entertaining. So we'll allow it, Ben.
Yeah. I prefer it.
Yeah. All right, so we're knotted at 13. So unlike game one, Ezra and Pat have been able to go 1-for-1 with Ben and Tony, but now we enter the aspect of the game where it becomes, again, those little errors will definitely start to rack up here, and now pretty much perfection is what you're looking for when you get to 14-14, 15-15.
I think Tony's setting has been a lot more off this game. We mentioned that high set and with lots of spin earlier. I've seen a few of those since. So I think that's allowed Pat and Ezra to take advantage of at least a couple and stay in here.
Yeah, I think that's like the downside of high setting. Like I personally really like setting high because wow, that is a high set. Because it allows like my hitter, my teammate, a lot of different options, and it allows him to change his eye level so that he can see where the defenders are, let the ball drop, and then finish the ball. But there's a limit on it. Like some of these
Yeah.
Anthony is setting, like they're going up in the sun, and that like this definitely does not help.
There's a certain level of high setting, like oh wow, nice body on by Tony, not on purpose, but it had to happen. Well, it didn't pan out for him though. There's a certain level of high setting that, like you said, yes, like I prefer that too, especially when hitting, like because it gives you more options. But if the arc gets high enough, that ball comes down a lot harder, and those options become a lot less because that ball's coming a lot faster.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That body on by Anthony reminded me of a top play from 2016 where at Summer Spike, Preston just like belly hit a ball with his belly on the net, and against he's in the third place game and got the point. Very Preston.
It's amazing. Move. Yep. All right, looks like Pat and Ezra are kind of taking control a little bit right here. Been able to take advantage of a few mistakes by Tony and Ben.
Well, like Ezra said, I think he's very happy to not be playing on concrete because he is just going after everything. Starting to serve a little bit harder too. You know, not going with the flango as much, going more to just the straight forehand for speed. As I say that.
Pat's there for the touch. Oh, but I think he hit rim on that.
Another one that we're seeing a lot of is short sets. Short sets are really tough because you take away the vision of the net from your hitter, and he's blindly hitting into defense that he can't see. So I've always preferred sets that are a little too powerful over sets that are short.
I mean, that short set you just have, like you said, you're hitting blindly. You don't really have any options. You just got to put it on.
Right. Great touch by Ezra.
Great touch, and yeah, just completely took Ezra and Tony. Oh, out of position. Yeah, okay. Pat has the ball. Their serve, and it looks like it's either 18-15 or 19-15. Ezra and Pat in the lead.
So now
20.
Pat. Oh wow.
20-15.
Wow.
Sorry. Yeah.
So let's see. This is going to be a tough battle for Ben and Tony to try and get 5 straight to force extras here. Well, let's see how Pat's composure is towards the end. Again, sometimes there is this pressure when you have 20 points, you just need one more. But if you overthink it, that 1 point becomes a lot more challenging to achieve.
And there we go. They finished it. But yeah, on that point, I mean, we bring up Chiswick Showalter, like again and again, there's been games where like they're down several and ends, and then they just turn it on, and all of a sudden they won. And it's like, how did that even happen?
Yeah. We might want to do a player interview, but I've got a great story about Peter John. So at 2018, this was the first year that co-ed had a real circuit, and through most of the season, Peter John didn't really place high, and AK and I at the time were winning a lot, and then we pull up to Chicago Grand Slam, and someone tells me before the tournament starts that, hey, Peter John's going to try this tournament, and I was like, what are you talking about? He tries, blah blah. Peter John was not trying, because I tell you, he goes on to win the Chicago Grand Slam easily, destroys AK and I, and then wins nationals easily, and now I don't think he's lost a co-ed tournament since then. So you talk about like turning it on and the ability to like really get to a next level, like that is one of the best stories for me to really understand that from like a 3-time national champion and probably the biggest winner in our sport.
All right, we got y'all on. Ben, Ezra, Pat, Tony.
This is Ezra. Sorry, we're just collecting balls.
No worries. All right, how'd it feel to get that W? Pull it out.
I mean, we know these guys. We live with, but it still felt really because we usually lose.
That's true. That's true. Are you gonna hold it against them that you beat them this game?
For sure. I mean, we plan on winning Game 3, but even if we don't, we know that like scoring that huge upset was big for us.
I love it. What was
the other guys are here now too.
Oh, they're here now. Well, first of all, what was the biggest key? Actually, I want to hear from Pat. I want to know what the biggest key from Pat was in pulling out that W.
I would say that I took it a little slower. I got some comments after game 1, and hit it, and just tried to like split the defense a little bit. I'm very tired, but I do feel like we benefit a little bit from grass because we're willing to hurt ourselves for the victory because we win so infrequently.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Love
So
that
I don't know how does it look from your guys' end?
It's looking good. It's looking good. To be honest, game 2 was a little more sloppy, but you guys pulled it together better than they did, and y'all started playing crisp there at the end, and it was a nice finish, and there were some fun rallies there.
I think the sloppiness you can usually attribute to Ben. He's a high ceiling, low floor type of player.
Yeah, I've always thought that.
You.
Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't hear you broke up, Dylan.
I was just saying, I say the same thing about you.
Sorry, let's come down with something.
Oh no.
Must be bad connection.
I don't know. I'll give you Ben. Pat and I are gonna go warm up so we don't lose.
Ben,
What's happening?
that's what I want to know. What happened?
So we identified shorts being a weak point for us, as Pat pointed out. We are not as gritty on the ground. Tony actually very much gets on the ground. I do not. So I need to shore up some of those drops that Pat put in between us. That's gonna save us 1 or 2 holds. Maybe get a break. That's I think the biggest thing. We got this game.
Yeah, I think a bit tired too. We had a couple of really nice rallies in game 1 and tired ourselves out a bit. And game 2, we just didn't have quite the same energy, but feeling a little rested now going into game. So we need to be back to.
Sounds like a lot of tired going on. A little quarantine worn out.
Yeah, it's hard to replicate playing on grass when you don't have grass to play on. We're just not able to move as much, and despite all the quarantine workouts we're doing, there's just nothing like roundnet. Really a good workout for you.
So true.
I think that's something we can all agree with. Well, good luck, boys.
Appreciate it.
So while we are going into game 3, we just want to shout out again, guys. This stream is we're raising money for Feeding America donations. So we have donated per viewer. We're doing $6 per viewer, so we're up to at least $250. So again, obviously we love roundnet. We miss roundnet. That's why we're doing the stream. But we're also raising money for a good cause. So if you want to share the stream with fellow Spikeball/roundnet players or friends or family, we would greatly appreciate it. Because we're trying to do whatever we can do to help people out during this time.
Absolutely. I mean, this stream, we're doing these streams because where we're at right now is to keep a lot of people safe and help them be in a better place. And obviously a lot of people are struggling from that. So the more people watching this, the more people we can help out. So
Absolutely.